Turn-based games are experiencing a sudden surge in popularity. Maybe even you have noticed that they've been taking over single-player gaming by storm. The past 3 years have been the most glaring evidence that there is a sudden shift in the gaming landscape and a change to the gaming demographic where most games were supposed to be dominated by live service and battle royales like Fortnite, Counter-Strike, League of Legends, Dota 2, and the list goes on, leaving every other games in the dust along with its fleeting player base. They're only popular with just a few weeks and months, and they'll just die down like any other single-player game. Companies even go to the extent of publicly mentioning that the age of single-player games is over and live service games are the way to the future. I mean, they're not totally wrong. Companies collect all this data extracted by their player base to maximize money-making potentials of their product. The only difference before is that companies actually make an effort in asking for your money, like adding in some sweet skins, tokens, battle passes, and other premium stuff. Now they just blatantly slap you, bend you over, take your money while laughing their way to the bank.
How could you do this to me?
Because fuck you, that's why.
This is the age where games are not created from passion of creating great experiences. Instead, games are not created to be money-making cash cows waiting to take advantage of your loyalty and addiction.
Oh, yeah.
Sadly, this reality is true, but sometimes nature tries to equalize itself and make a sudden shift, sort of like a disturbance to the force that shakes up the industry in many ways that you can imagine. Even for an unlikely genre, everyone thought that was only a niche. To help you better understand why, let us go back in time to where it all started. Imagine you just transported yourself to the 1980s where playing games was in its simplest form. As a kid getting home from school with your friends, you guys drop your bags in the corner, huddle up in your old CRT TV, and just take turns in playing Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, just loaded in your NES or any other gaming platform. Back in the day, turn-based games were actually the king. Dragon Quest was especially one of the most popular ones out there, which inspired other game developers like Squaresoft to make the Final Fantasy series. Turn-based systems were very popular just because of its complexity in mechanics, player choices, and the most compelling stories that you'll most likely remember until this day. I mean, who still remember checking out GameFAQs magazines and those game guides that come with the game disc? For me as a kid, I would read those for hours just because of the sheer complexity and passion the game developers poured in creating their game. Forward to the 1990s to the early 2000s gave rise to the button-mashing games of the arcade era, where the surge of 3D graphics and real-time action in a fast-paced environment was the new thing.
Teenager hooked on violent computer games. He's playing them an incredible 16 hours a day. His mother says his personality has changed and that he's become moody and violent.
This really kicks ass, doesn't it?
Heck, I even remember the exact storyline of Final Fantasy Tactics, and I haven't touched or played the game in years. Games like Quake, Doom, Mario Kart 64, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, etc. was created, which also led to the creation of the game that blew everyone away, that is the Elder Scrolls series. While on the turn-based RPG side, they were still quite relevant from Final Fantasy 6 to 10, but over the years, the changing demographic eventually branded turn-based games as slow, boring, and clunky for the generations that crave more speed, spectacle, which leaves the tactical, slow-paced gameplay in the dust for many years to come. Companies like Square Enix tried their best to evolve the turn-based genre, made a few adjustments like the ATB system for Final Fantasy VII Remake. Some developers tried adding more quirky mechanics like in Persona, to even moving away from the turn-based entirely with Final Fantasy XVI. Unfortunately, turn-based games still lack the interest and innovation to capture the masses until the renaissance of the indie games from 2010 onwards. Before, indie games were supposed to be branded as low-budget, low-quality games where developers only use this sort of platform to spice up their portfolios, hoping to get hired by big gaming companies to eventually work on a larger IP. This sort of games normally just get brushed off by the community and don't even get much traction in media aside from word of mouth. But something strange eventually happens in this vast world of games and media, where word of mouth can turn the smallest embers of a dying genre into a blazing flame that will change the gaming landscape.
Baldur's Gate 3 is taking the internet by storm. At its peak, a whopping 800,000 plus concurrent players were playing this weekend, catapulting it to the number 8 most played of all time spot.
Larian Studios just completed its most ambitious project yet, continuing its previous work, which is Divinity Original Sin and Divinity Original Sin 2, which also garnered quite a successful player base. Baldur's Gate 3 was the lightning in the bottle that blew everything away like a blazing storm in 2023.
And the Game Award goes to Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3.
And the game of the year is Baldur's Gate 3.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
This game mowed down every single game in its time, setting records and awards like a landslide of success, bringing along new vigor and life to a genre everyone thought was irrelevant. After a year, Metaphor ReFantazio, another turn-based game, took another victory as the best game of 2024, winning numerous awards in the process. Fast forward to 2025, Clair Obscur Expedition 33, another turn-based game, is defining on how turn-based gameplay should evolve in the future and is in the run for my personal game of the year. So, why? What happened? And why now? Well, the most obvious answer is really clear. It's all about time. I've been talking about the relevance of time since the start of this video. So here's what I think. This is the time when gamers are finally realizing that they hold the power as a consumer to demand high quality, complex, and innovative games, not just be compelled by the next shiny thing. Most of the games that come out nowadays are a low effort and low quality, a cash grabbing slop devoid of innovation that is just a clone of a popular thing weeks and months ago. Gamers are finally sick of those old AAA game formula of that repetitive content, forcing you to run from place to place, doing the same thing over and over again. The type of world that may look pretty, but it's just an illusion without any life. Just that padding after padding, and once you've played a couple of hours, you've already seen what the game can offer. Just a disappointing ocean of opportunities, but in actuality, it is just a puddle of content. This sort of developers lack innovation and are just simply going through the motions, relying on the name of that established IP, hoping to fish out that next whale so they can sell more skins or low quality DLC.
What do we call our biggest fans? Whales.
Also, millennials and Gen Zs, which are the main demographic, are now grown up. So fast-paced and repetitive games are no longer that appealing. Sometimes people just want to go back and visit that feeling they've had when everything was just simple, nostalgic, and fun. Games now are getting more expensive and people are getting more reserved in their purchasing powers. Imagine buying a game for over $100 and it sucks. Even today, large AAA gaming companies can't guarantee quality of content anymore, as evident to the countless underwhelming projects and expensive flops that has plagued us over the years. This drove gamers to opt to the next best thing, which are indie game developers. I guess money, fame, and prestige really do change people, huh?
Concord just went live. Amazing. How much did I make? Brother, we owe money. What?
Just like a perfect storm, the blade of the turn-based genre has retained its quality just like back in the 1980s. The changes are now evident with the evolved next-gen graphics while retaining the godlike storytelling and narratives, letting you meet unforgettable characters, giving you player agency and player choices that matter, complex and challenging gameplay with the introduction of Expedition 33 to the mix of those amazing turn-based games. We've just got a glimpse of what turn-based combat will be in the future. Something much more engaging, addicting, and fun. Turn-based games did not just give up, it took all of those L's and learned from it, retained its best features for older fans, and evolved to open up its doors to a new era of gamers excited for its future. As for a long-term fan of tactical and turn-based RPGs, I'll be here to definitely cover the genre's amazing rise and success every step of the way. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you soon on the next Master Buck Show. Peace out. Bye guys.